Good. Have a good day. You're dismissed. Goodbye.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Oh man, I'm losing my voice being out in that cold air last night. The night air always gets us. The majority of us Michiganders know that, and that's just something that we're used to. But to put some more emphasis on what happened in that video that you guys seen earlier, this is Officer David Gates you're looking at on the screen right now. He didn't like that I was able to redress him. He threatened me with making me leave there too, and I used my verbal judo and put him back quiet. But I said, you know what? The next time I'm going to see how willing that he's willing to go to show the people watching as far as his actions to prove that he is who I say he is. And if that video don't prove it, all it was you can't talk to me like that. If you listen to him the way he was after he was giving me those unlawful directives, because he actually put me further into the crime scene. If people were paying attention to that specific video. So understanding that, you'll know that his motive wasn't to move me out of a specific scene. His motive was to exploit supremacy over a person that has recording him, showing that he is capable of being the tyrant that most people are looking for in the actions of these public servants that get paid by us. So he might be a good cop to some of his peers that he works for. His peers might think that he's a good person most of the time and support that type of behavior because they all got a superiority complex. They think that everything that they say and do should be listened to because that perceived authority has went to their head. I'm here to tell you that even the story I'm about to show you, it's the same thing. It's like nobody's training these cops at all about reasonable articulable suspicion that was used in Terry versus Ohio, Toronto versus the state. And there's several. If you look up all the case law that's in Terry versus Ohio, it goes specifically that they are supposed to verbalize it because there's a doctrine created from Terry versus Ohio. So when the Supreme Court justice said you can't just go on an unarticulable hunch, which gives you have to have reasonable suspicion. So an unarticulable hunch means you can't just go and not say something and act on that thought in your mind. You have to articulate it. So the opposite of unarticulate is to articulate. So I think what's understood don't need to be explained to the people that actually give a damn. So the problem that we're running into with our law enforcement is that they need to be trained to respect the public that don't respect them. They need to be trained to just have tunnel vision while being mindful to the law and uphold the law. There are a couple officers out here, even in Wyandotte, where I see tyrannical officers. We got an understanding where we will respect one another, and they will leave me alone if I stay. If they're thinking that I'm going to stay out of the way, they don't care what I say or what I record. That was proven in my last video. So there are officers that can develop a business relationship without taking it personal. And that is the issue that we're dealing with here. I'm not going to change. There's no way that Officer Gates, that tyrant, will ever get me off a public sidewalk without telling me and giving me along with that lawful directive, because if he is investigating it, you can't tell them if they're not. The only thing you could do is prove that they didn't investigate it. They could prove that there was that whether or not they actually what do they call that, contaminated it, walking all over it while they're using their flashlights. So it's really no big deal. The little square that I was sitting on with the 12-inch feet that I have on each side, and with an inch diameter in space, the space that I was taking up, I wasn't covering up any evidence. So the people, this type of behavior and what they're doing, it shows a retaliation. That's all it does. It's showing this retaliation method that, while criminalizing a constitutionally protected activity, they continue to move forward and operate within that purview, because people will not take the time out to do what needs to be done because they're afraid. Now, when they commit prior restraint, it's no different from him grabbing my phone and throwing it, as you've seen other people do. Morbido, look, he smacked it out of his hand. He got triggered and smacked it out of the hand of freaking media's gimbal, and that was an assault, because then it's an extension of him, and that's why he had to retire. The same thing with Sergeant Cox. He had to retire because he put his hands on somebody and pushed me, and he became a liability to the taxpayers of Taylor, because if a one-armed guy that wouldn't hurt a fly would cause you to flip out just because you're biased, you are a danger to society. You are no different from one of them dogs running wild, because you are armed to the max. You up to 3 to 4 mags that are connected to your sidearm and other weapons that you have on you to protect you, and all you're doing is deflecting your behavior to get rid of this person and actually committing the action of what you're blaming the other person for doing. It's that plan, pitch, take, deny shit. And we all get sick of this. And this next story is in Sterling Heights, Michigan, where this is a TikTok video. I reached out to the guy and seen if he would contact me, because whether or not he committed a crime at the time, I don't know. We'll never know, because the cop says, we don't know that right now. We're investigating it. So you have to articulate what you believe, and they did not do that. So I'm going to point out this tyrannical behavior, because that is a rights violation here in the state of Michigan as they continue. And I want our police officers to, it shouldn't be a problem. If you believe of an individual that you are trying to detain committed a crime, all you have to do is just voice it out. I believe that you've committed this crime, or going to commit this crime. So right now I need you to stop. And all you need to do is use your Fifth Amendment right and shut up. But before I go on, I'm just going to welcome a few people that are in here. MCC, what's up, baby? Good to see you up in here. Brent, good afternoon. H. Clay, he says what? $500,000 lawsuit will occur this type of behavior. Yeah, I hear you. It's easier said than done, right? Indiana, how you doing? And everybody else that's coming in. What's up, Low Dimes? It's always good to see the locals coming in and saying hi. So without further ado, I'm going to play this video, and I'm going to show you where the officers are gaslighting him, because I don't know about you as a parent, and if I see two people that are armed to the max, right? If you see two people that are armed to the max that actually are stopping your egress and degress, ingress and egress, right? So they're already, you know, accosting you and putting you in a position where you're going to hold on to your child a little tighter because you don't want them snatching your kid out of their hand. It's an automatic defense mechanism that comes to a parent. I'm just saying that's what I would feel the same way. So you're going to hear this female officer continue to um, escalate things by saying you're holding this baby too tight. Well, probably because you got him under duress and he thinks that you're going to snatch him up because you haven't articulated a crime. And he continues to ask you, what crime did he commit? And you're not able to answer that. Therefore, it's an illegal detainment to begin with. And that is what they don't care about, because most of these police officers are tyrannical. Even though needed, they're tyrannical, and they need to go back on their training, and somebody needs to teach them the First Amendment. Somebody needs to teach them these. I mean, they know why is it that they know all the obstruction laws and know the disorderly laws and know the harassment laws, all the go-tos, even in Terry versus Ohio. They know what a Terry frisk is, but for some reason, they didn't read the rest of it, where it tells you you cannot have an articulable hunch. And that was one of the major points that kind of went our way for them not to say, well, we could just detain you. They have to have reasonable articulable suspicion. And then Mobley versus State in North Carolina says that you have a right to resist an unlawful wrongdoer, which is a police officer violating your constitutional rights in that situation.
Do not hold me. I have my kids in my head. What crime am I being detained for?
There's one. That's number one. What crime did I do, right?
What crime? What crime?
All they could say is put the kid down.
What crime? What crime? What crime?
You hear this woke ass individual that has a badge on, that's a female that is gaslighting this male. Listen very close. We need to literally articulate the things and the corrosive tactics that they use, because it's gaslighting.
What?
It's a form of gaslighting.
Crime? No,
You're squeezing your children. But here's the problem. What made her and this other pig come up to begin with? Why are you in front of me? Why are you blocking my ingress and egress, right?
Okay, okay. No, you are hurting my kids. I am freely walking.
So he
Stop. Hey, I am. Hey, are you okay? Hey, stop. You guys are scared.
So he puts this child down and holds the hand of the child, right? And just because he knows that their gaslighting is getting thicker and thicker with the corrosive tactic that's pushed behind it, which is the perceived authority.
What crime have I committed?
Now he's calling backup. Look at this.
What crime? What crime have I committed?
Woman, Nazi. Answer the question instead of looking like a Nazi. That is the face of a Nazi right there, ladies and gentlemen. If you guys don't believe me, take a good look before I push play again. It's a simple they are obligated, and it's mandatory for them to articulate a crime, and they can't.
Why am I being detained? Stop. Okay, come on. Hey, come on, baby. Come on. Let's go. Come on. Let's go. We're free to walk. Am I being detained? Am I detained?
You are being stopped for questions.
For what? For
Okay.
what? Stop. If I be detained, you
There you go.
Stop. You cannot.
Now, this is where we need to be educated, y'all. Understand this. If bootlickers are watching that are against so-called, they call me an auditor, but I'm a journalist. But anyway, you know, whatever you want to call me, let's be reasonable with this. You know the law, it's case law. They have to articulate it. Why can't they just simply say the crime so it can justify them moving forward into what you enable them when they use physical force that you like to see them do? For some reason, you guys love to see somebody get their butthole touched and slammed up against the door and put cuffs. You guys like seeing that. Some of you like seeing that. I'm not saying anybody in here, none of you guys are bootlickers in here, but I'm talking about the average bootlicker out there enables that unreasonable narcissistic oppression. I don't understand how you can. I mean, it's just real simple. Articulate the crime, and it's not happening here.
Put hands on me. Why are you putting hands on me? Why are you putting hands on me? What crime? What
They just exacerbated this. And listen to the answer.
crime are being committed? What crime have I committed?
Can you have
What crime? Look at my kids. What crime have I committed? What crime?
We're trying to figure that out.
Oh, boom. And there is the automatic evidence that they don't have a reasonable crime or reasonable suspicion that he's committed a crime, because they're trying to figure it out, guys, which means they are trying to criminalize something that is in their midst right now that they can't do. Why is that? It's real simple. I believe that you committed this crime. I'm detaining you. It's that simple. That detainment can last up to 15 minutes. All right. So they could have did a Terry pad on that, and they could have put them up against the wall for 15 minutes, according to the Constitution and Supreme Court law, case law. Okay. Instead of going through all this. But they didn't do that because these people are not trained at all. They act on their feelings, just like that pig did last night in Taylor, and they enforce feelings.
So you cannot detain me without a crime. What crime have I done, sir? What crime have I done? Look at my kids. What crime have I?
These police officers are exacerbating. Exacerbating, for those that don't know what that word is, it means that you're taking a bad situation and you're making it worse. So when you act that way and you continue to act that way, it's going to, for every action, there's going to be a reaction. And these children are feeling this uneasy feeling of their father, that is, it looks like he's struggling, and they feel that, and they're going to act on it, let alone them being crabby and tired.
Committed. Why am I being detained right now, sir? What have I done? What have I done wrong?
Would you like to talk to us now?
No. I will not. You guys are trying to take.
See, now we see here that he says, well, we don't know that yet, right? So they don't know that he's committed a crime. And remember, they're law enforcement, not feelings enforcement. And they need to investigate to where they do. So if they was to detain him, they would detain him on, I believe that you committed or you're about to commit this crime. Obviously, there is no go-to here because they are literally violating this man's rights.
Me for my kids. I did nothing wrong. You guys are assaulting me. You guys are assaulting me. What crime?
Unwanted touch in the state of Michigan is a third-degree assault.
What I do? I did nothing.
So, and they turned off his camera. So obviously they detained him. They showed us, okay, that's all I got on this. I'll probably have to go out there and do an audit because these tyrannical uh, unprofessionals that are not following their code of conduct and their oath to their office are not actually they're violating this man's due process in the Fifth Amendment. And when you see this and you say, okay, even if they, I mean, God, if he committed a crime, look, I'm not anti-cop. I'm just anti-bad cop. And this is showing me the bad cop because rights are the most important thing that is connected to humanity and human rights. And if you violate that sanctuary of protection, then you are no different. There is no separation between us and these communists in a man's world where a man will not allow a woman to drive. A man, like Sharia law, there's some things in Sharia law, not that it's any of my business of what they do in their country because I don't have that authority. But my opinion is in Sharia law, if you perform a surgery, an unwanted surgery on a child for her to go into womanhood, to take her pleasure away and cut that pleasurable piece off of her so she will stay to her man, where is the human right in that? Where do they get off that she can't drive? Where did we get off that she can't go to school and get educated? See, it's these type of things that is connected to what just happened right there. It leads up to it. And we're forgetting and eroding the Constitution every day that goes by because of pigs like you see on my screen right now. He is a definite freaking Nazi. To me, this man is no different from what happened in Nazi Germany because of how he showed. I showed you his anger. I showed you his level of how far he was willing to take his actions last night. Usually I just stand there and say, it's an unlawful directive. You need to show me where the crime scene is. But I wanted this time to just let it go. I wanted to show you the bootlicker. Well, sure, I'll calm down. As soon as he approached me, I was calm. I said, okay, where's the crime scene? He's like, I don't answer to you. I don't have to tell you yet. Yes, you do. Because that's where the tape is mandated by Michigan state law, dumbass. And don't worry, somebody besides me will end up putting a case on people like this, and it will set major precedent. I'm sure there is. But the administrative and the state laws of seizing property while in a crime scene is to put up yellow tape. And that's why the yellow tape says crime scene or caution on it, do not pass. It sets a demarcation line up and it lets the public at large know that you cannot, this is no longer public until we unseize this area, until we are done doing what we're doing, which is justifiable. We all understand that they need to operate in that preview. But unfortunately, there was no crime scene there, let alone in the video we just seen here, there was no crime that this guy was being detained for. They were holding him and violating his due process. For what reason, we'll never know, because he's probably in jail and he's still for resisting without arrest or some type of obstruction, where they think that this guy is easy prey and he's poor and he probably doesn't have the funds nor he's ignorant to the laws. And he knew enough to say, you got to articulate. You got to tell me what I've done. You can't detain me. So he knows himself right there that enough to justify when a jury looks at that, and they could say that his due process was violated, because every American has the right to know what they've done wrong. And when these people come in, if you guys have any more comments on this, feel free to comment in the comment section. But as far as, I'm going to close with this. I've been trying to stay busy with this, and I am ill, and I'm doing my best. It is what it is. Y'all know me. This is who I am. I am not James Freeman. I am not Long Island Audits. I am none of those people that have successfully elevated their channels and have taken advantage of the props and putting in the work. And it is what it is. I mean, more power to them. I just wish that they would help other smaller channels like we do. Hell, I even help smaller channels, and I'm a small channel myself. It doesn't matter. It's all about the narrative. The narrative is very clear. We want to speak truth to power, and we want power to stay within their limits and quit creating circumstances that criminalize constitutionally protected behavior. Okay, guys, you have a great day. God bless. Wolverine's back quiet, reading the mail.